Hey, how you doing, everyone? This is Lee Gerstmann. I have another record review for you. I decided to review an album by a group called Kaleidoscope. Now, if you are unsure what group that is, because there were two groups. There was one in England called Kaleidoscope, and there was one in America called Kaleidoscope. This is the American group. And they did four albums, and then they broke up, and then they did a couple of reunion albums. But this is going to be a review of their fourth album called Bernice. Now, their album that maybe a lot of their fans would call their most known album would be Beacon from Mars. But I would have to say that this album is also pretty interesting. A lot of people and critics have said this album was like their down point, that for some reason it was their disaster album. And I really don't think that at all. The only reason why it got known like that is because I think people didn't buy it. But if you hear their other stuff and you hear this album, I think it's a complete and consistent moving on from album to album, so that when you hear Bernice, it doesn't sound like a disappointment. It sounds like the next album that they do. And so, anyway, my point is that I like it. And so, if my review will help you take a listen to it, hey, right on. But anyway, the first song is called Chocolate Whale. And that's kind of like a bent interpretation of Little Feat's sound. And it has a sense of humor. And I like its funky vibe. And then the next song, Another Lover. To me, it sounded like Black Oak, Arkansas meets Canned Heat, but with a more sinister edge to it. It's also funny, funky, like the early 70s Stones. I really dig it. Rolling Stones, I mean. And then Sneaking Through the Ghetto. The first part of this song, it could have been like a song on the Rolling Stones Between the Buttons, and it's really cool. But then all of a sudden, the country part sounds like the Flying Burrito Brothers. So it's an odd mix of English sounding rock with country, mixed in here and there. It's odd, but I like it. And then the song To Know Is Not To Be. To me, this sounded more like their own unique style with plenty of psychedelic trippiness. And that's never a bad thing. And then Lulu Arfin Nanny, totally wicked and cool song. It's not like Black Sabbath, but fans of that group would dig it. And then Lie and Hide. This is a great satirical song that is really funky and bluesy with a strangeness worthy of Frank Zappa. And then Ballad of Tommy Udo. This isn't quite my style, but I recognize it's mimicking the Monkees sound with the folk ballad edge. I do respect it. And then Bernice. This is cool as hell, like Sly Stone at his funkiest. I absolutely love this song. And then Soft and Easy. This is like a Neil Young song. It's not bad. And then New Blue Ooze. This is like a cool jam wigged out. Like a Canned Heat wigged out jam. and there's a long drum solo part in it, as if when Canned Heat did Boogie with Canned Heat, they decided to make it like Moby Dick. So, yeah, I would say overall, this is a very interesting album, and it's definitely not their disaster. It's actually, I would say, on par with their other albums. So, anyway, that's been my review.